Hello, YouTube Pick Six Podcast. If you like watching this thing, hit the old subscribe button. John pointed the subscribe button. Where might it be if someone's watching this on their phone?
Yeah, Wilson, I don't have a phone in front of me. I don't know.
It's this way or that way. Hit the subscribe button.
I think it's below you. I think it's below you. I'm pointing down. This is already out of hand.
There you go. Hit that thing, and you'll get alerts every time we go live, and that'll be fun. All right, welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, everybody. It's Friday, which means what, Breech?
Mailbag.
That's right. It's summertime. I'm fresh back from my trip overseas. Brinson, you won't believe this, Breech, but he had to pick up Robbie from some summer goings on, and he's late, even though we told him you had a hard out in 31 minutes. On a scale of 1 to infinity, how shocked are you by this development?
Negative point. So not even on the scale you gave me. Not shocked at all. And you know what's funny is I feel like Robbie's probably picking up Brinson from some camp. I could see Robbie riding the
hair plug camp.
Yeah, picking up Brinson because he can't drive after getting the fresh hair plugs because the car wind might blow him out of whack. And here we are. And you know what? Brinson probably wanted us to be together since we haven't been on the same podcast in 3 weeks. Wilson, it's been a while.
At least 3 weeks. Yeah. And I take some passive aggressive pleasure in doing the podcast with Adam, even though I know he'll show up and he actually won't care. So who's the real winner there? It's probably not me. So it's a Mailbag Friday because it's summertime and not a whole lot going on. Breech, I'm just back from my vacation. You're about to take a vacation or have you done it already?
I'm going to be out next Friday. I have a hard out today because I'm actually getting on an airplane, but I can't say where because it's a surprise.
Is it a surprise for your wife?
No, it's not a surprise for my wife.
Oh, it's a surprise for the people you want to see?
Yes.
Oh, there's 100% chance. Do they want you there?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I just show up to things. I'm not really invited or uninvited. It's just like, oh, Breech is here. All right, well.
Continental U.S.?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, I will be out in 2 weeks, starting on I don't even know what the days are. The 25th. Starting on the 25th, you guys won't hear from me, so everyone wins.
So a month from now, I think we'll be together in Nashville. I don't know if you talked about it on the subsequent podcast without me, but when Brinson and I podcasted earlier this week, he sent me $300 toot sweet on Venmo, and then of course solicited the most Brinson way ever other folks to Venmo me, and I think we're up to like $480 or $490 right now in terms of donations for this tattoo, which I think is hysterical. I looked up some tattoo parlors in the greater Nashville area. So I think we're going to have to make that happen, John.
Yeah, as soon as I heard you guys talking about it in Slack and that we were soliciting funds on Venmo, I was wondering what the hell was going on. And Brinson is here just in time to talk about the tattoo.
Great. Perfect. Good job, guys.
Yeah, we're just talking about what a predictably terrible human being you are.
The real question was, on a scale of 1 to infinity, was I surprised that Brinson wasn't here on time?
Not only that he had some mealy-mouthed excuse about using Robbie as a prop, which has been his go-to for 8 years now. By the way,
Robbie's going to be like 35. Brinson's still going to use it. I had to pick him up from summer camp.
And you just fell out of his chair. I love that he's beat red. Clear the indication that he's been playing golf. He just got back. Robbie is nowhere to be seen.
I wish I'd been playing golf.
So anyway, we're all caught up with the intros. We haven't started doing your job yet officially with the Mailbag, Brinson. So you can take over, or you can sit back and Breech and I can drive
and
the
enjoy
bus.
the ride.
Oh my God, let me ride. I'd love to ride for once.
All right, well, we'll get started with a would you rather, because I found one that's pretty funny. Nada, I would love for you to pipe in as well.
I take my shirt off and chair back.
Just make sure you blur that part, and then you can go crazy. All right, here we go. Would you rather? Breech, we'll start with you, and we'll go around the horn. Have one long, thick, furry eyebrow across your entire forehead, a unibrow, or an inordinate amount of ear and nose hair that cannot be removed. So
either a unibrow or a ton of nose and ear hair
that's clearly visible, from across the table or wherever you might be having a conversation with somebody.
Wait, you're okay, hold on. You're talking to somebody and they're like, that dude has so much nose and ear hair, it's out.
Or they have a insane unibrow and I can't stop staring at it, but
I'm saying like it's not a detriment to your own personal life, it's no to other people.
Yeah, sort of like what you're doing now. We can see it, but it doesn't impair your ability to do whatever you're doing. Again, Brinson shows up late and ruins the audio.
I'll jump out and come right back.
While Brinson's jumping out, this is probably the toughest one you've given us, Wilson.
I love it.
I don't want hair flowing out of my nose or my ears, but I also don't want a unibrow.
Right.
But you know what? I'll go with the nose and ear hair.
Interesting. Not while we
like
wait.
People close in proximity to you to see it. And so from a distance, everybody's going to see your unibrow. They know you're the guy with the unibrow. And I could embrace the unibrow, but yeah, I'm going with the nose.
It's a tough one.
I don't want to.
What do you want, Nada?
Give me the unibrow only because if you're good enough, you can cover it with that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I could have a unibrow right now. You get the dark rim glasses and you pull the hat down. That could be your workaround. And also I feel like, I mean, both are things where you wonder what the dude or woman is up to in terms of the personal, I don't know if it counts as hygiene, but just taking care of your personal appearance. Like either one, you're like, couldn't you have sorted that out? Little do they know that you made a bet with the devil or whatever. I think I'm going with the unibrow as well because as I get older, hairs grow from all sorts of places on my face that drive me crazy. And I think unibrows is sort of just more, looks more kempt. And again, to Nada's point, you can sort of hide it. You want to change your mind or you're sticking with a Breech?
Just hate on. No, I think you changed my mind. Put the hat on, put the glasses on. No one can see anything.
All right, we got 25 minutes. Let's get into this thing. Brinson may or may not be back. We'll see what happens. So let's start with a question from Madri Rua on Twitter. The Steelers are acknowledged as one of the best organizations in evaluating wide receivers. What are the institutional elements that contribute to this? And can other teams use that to create their own talent niche? Well, I'll just go out and say this.
Well, let me answer first because I only have one sentence. Ryan is a Steelers fan and also the draft guru, so I'm just going to defer to him.
Oh, I was going to make a Bengals joke that the Bengals stole the Steelers' secret formula because they've done quite well with the wide receivers.
That's not a joke. That's a compliment.
Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and of course, Jamar Chase. They have the best wide receiver duo, or trio even, not only in the AFC North, but who's better in the AFC? Tyreek Hill's now gone, and they have no one else really in Kansas City.
Are you talking about trio?
Yeah, let's go with three.
Oh, if you're talking about trio, I think it's the Bengals hands down. If you're talking about duo, it becomes more debatable.
So Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd? I'm guessing Tyler Boyd's number 2, right?
Probably T. Higgins. I think he's been more of a.
Playmaker.
I mean, that's the thing though. Like they're all good, so it's tough to. I'm probably taking the Bengals duo, but I wouldn't argue too much if someone took Tyreek and the Dolphins.
Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams?
No, I'm taking the Bengals.
That's not even a joke.
No, I don't. Didn't. What
Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp. If I don't say Cooper Kupp, Brinson will get mad, but he's not here.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Look at that. He's
3 times fast.
Look where he showed up. He was just waiting. He had his finger hovering over the Cooper Kupp button.
Give Wilson the pole position up where I am. Let him drive this puppy. There you go.
What? It's Friday.
My contract's up too, so this will be noted in my negotiations. We're talking.
You are host of the Pick Six podcast.
We're talking about wide receivers, Brinson. But did you have a comment on unibrow or ear, nose hair before we move on?
I mean, it's hard to. I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but given my natural level of fur,
swarthiness,
very nice. I'm like the unibrow is like I almost might go nose and ear just because I'm not sure people would notice.
Well, Breech went nose and ear. Me and Nada went unibrow. Nada's point was a good one. You can wear glasses or a hat and cover the unibrow.
Oh, yeah. All right, unibrow's the answer then.
And I don't think Breech is growing a beard to cover. I mean, at least to cover the ear hair. I guess you can wear earphones all the time.
Breech. If Breech had a unibrow, we would look at him and say, "Man, that's odd." But if Breech, if you're walking in with tufts of hair coming out of your ear, we'd be like, "What a freak!"
That's what I was sort of getting at. I mean, he would look like a cuddly little Ewok with a unibrow.
It's actually
and the thing is, people like Ewoks.
It's hilarious to picture Breech with little tufts of like salt and pepper hair coming out of his ear.
Right.
Both ears, like little I don't know what they would be, but yeah, it's funny to picture. Anyway, carry on.
So the question that Madri Rua asked was: the Steelers are good at drafting wide receivers. Institutional knowledge, is it something else? Can other teams choose to create their own talent niche? Brinson has again destroyed the audio. He looks around his palatial mansion and trying to figure it out.
I think it's probably my plug. 1 second, I'll be right back.
He is dead set on not doing this podcast. What are some other teams, Breech, where there might be some competition for wide receivers? Like Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson aren't even in the conversation, I don't think.
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin's coming off the ACL. Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson. Look, is Allen Robinson top flight wide receiver?
I put him with a good quarterback, and we'll find out. But I would say yes.
Adam Thielen and, of course, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, they're not the same. Thielen's getting older. He's not as
Stephon Diggs and who's number 2 in Buffalo?
Gabriel Davis.
Gabriel Davis, maybe. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think some other ones. You got any other ones?
What about your boys Juju Smith-Schuster and Mecole Hardman?
I mean, come on.
I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. Yeah, I mean, look, the Bengals. I mean, maybe you could make an argument for the Chargers with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. No,
but literally, we're naming 5 or 6 teams here. I mean, that's it. It's a short list of teams that are in the argument for top duo, and an even shorter list for top trio.
Yeah. N'Keal Harry and Jakeem Grant. That was a joke.
You may have already answered this. Can I ask you a question, Wilson?
Of course.
So, I think, I noticed like the Majorua is asking like, what are the institutional elements? Are you at all worried that with the shift from Kevin Colbert to Omar Khan that you could see a drop off in that late round wide receiver production?
Interesting. That's a good question. I think Omar's been there forever.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Omar's been there forever, so he sort of knows how things work. I can't imagine that Mike Tomlin is going to just take a back seat because he and Colbert were sort of working together. And in terms of the institutional part of the question, I think there's no more institutional place than Pittsburgh, maybe New England, but that institution feels like it starts and ends with Bill Belichick, whereas this maybe is a little more collaborative. But also, you could argue they've gotten lucky. I mean, in terms of Antonio Brown was a 6th-round pick, who, when he was drafted in 2010, I remember reading reports out of training camp that he might get cut because he didn't know the offense, which in retrospect is laughable. 3rd round that year, they got Manny what's that?
They won the Super Bowl that year, and I remember
they got to the Super Bowl. Got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
got to the Super Bowl. Yeah. I mean, that was my
Breech.
Sorry.
I'm not happy to point that out.
It was Aaron Rodgers' only Super Bowl win. I'm sorry.
I'm yelling at Breech for pouncing on the idea that the Steelers went to Super Bowl loss.
Oh, by the way,
I'm happily pouncing since Brinson is always more than happy to bring up the team that did not win the Super Bowl this year.
I will get back to the Antonio Brown thing really quick, but our boy Colin Bear, Bengals fan who lives in
the guy who you have to Venmo $100 to.
Yeah, I know. I already paid him, I think. Anyway, he DM'd me yesterday. He was like, "Hey," he was like, "Here's 12 fantasy football team names." I was like, he's like, "Put these in order." I was like, "I'm not ranking like your names from good to bad, bro." He's like, No, I need a draft order." So I was like, "Oh." I looked down. I was wearing that Ram shirt. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to film a draft order." And so I filmed it. It was like, and by the way, I am wearing my Ram shirt to all you losers in Cincinnati. Anyway, Antonio Brown in that 2010 Super Bowl, like he was on, but on media day, he was like on the, like no one was talking to him. He was no one. Like I went up and interviewed him very briefly and remember coming away, you're like, man, that guy has the smokiest voice on the planet.
He does have a smoky voice.
But he was just like, he was a late round pick who wasn't getting a ton of playing time on the like no chance of having a podium, which is to your point, Wilson. Like he, great job finding a talent like that in the 6th round. But it's sort of like Tom Brady too. It's like you weren't like, haha, we're going to steal this future Hall of Famer in the 6th round. Like you got lucky.
Yeah, I think there's a recurring theme there because he came out a year early, and that's part of the reason I think he fell. He went to a small school in Central Michigan, smallish. Martavis Bryant's another example. He was a 4th-round pick out of Clemson. He had some off-field concerns. That's why he went in the 4th round. That was that 2014 draft class, which was through the roof. The very next year, the Steelers drafted Sammy Coates in the 3rd round because they knew that Martavis Bryant was going to be suspended. So they had to sort of make up for what was a good draft pick, but make up for the fact that, the off-field issues sort of, I think he maybe failed a pod test or something. I don't even know what it was, but it wasn't anything egregious, but I do remember him being suspended. So yeah, I mean, part of it's luck, part of it's just being really good. But I'm thinking recent years, like James Washington never worked out. He was the second round pick. I wish he had gotten more opportunities. But Deontay Johnson the next year was the third round pick. He clearly worked out. Chase Claypool was a second round pick. He had a good freshman year. Rookie season last year was a little up and down. Last year they didn't draft the wide receiver. They got Pat Freiermuth at tight end. And this year, so they got George Pickens, which feels like a Martavis Bryant selection in that he had some maturity issues, no off-field issues. He had the ACL. I don't think it's going to be an issue in terms of his production. He has a chance to be really good, but they also got Calvin Austin, who I love, but he's shorter than Breech, and he went in the 4th round. If he were 6 feet tall, he probably would have been a day 2 pick, worst case. So, yeah, we'll see how this works out. And the other issue is that they've had a quarterback the last 20 years, and now they're sort of figuring that out. So that certainly plays a role. And, how much success you have as a wide receiver. All right. Ethan Runnenbaum on Twitter. So I haven't heard this yet. Brinson, you listen to sports podcasts, maybe you have. Zach Keefer's podcast series Luck, which is about Andrew's luck.
I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm extremely interested in listening to it. Zach, friend of the pod, by the way, does an awesome job and has covered the Colts for a long time, and this is a great topic. Yeah,
so that dropped this week on The Athletic. Throwing his Indy contract aside and the fact that Luck probably won't ever come back. That would be awesome if he came back. Where would you like to see Andrew Luck play if he did come back, and where would you rank him amongst the rest of the starting quarterbacks? So I think the question is, I think Andrew Luck's probably 30, 31 now. I think he retired when he's like late 20s. So let's say he comes back next year at age 32 or 33, and then we have to rank him with all the other quarterbacks who will be in the league in 2023. Where would I want him to go? Pittsburgh, number 1. I will take him sight unseen in Pittsburgh next year. Whatever happens this year with Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky, and
you trade Kenny Pickett and 2 future firsts for Andrew Luck right now, right?
Yes, and Andrew Luck's hair plugs.
I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, you do that in a heartbeat.
No, I would not 2 firsts. I mean, I don't know. He could weigh 185 pounds right now. I don't know what Andrew Luck looks like. Because a lot of times these quarterbacks slim down. Football players in general, but so that's sort of the tongue in cheek.
You're expecting a real trim Ben Roethlisberger in about 6 months. Is that what
well, it could go one of 2 ways. Usually the offensive linemen slim down and run marathons like Alan Faneca, and sometimes, you have the old Lenny Dykstra situation where you become a bowling ball. The choice is yours.
Do you mean John Kruk or Lenny Dykstra?
Have you seen Lenny Dykstra? Nails?
His nails huge?
Lenny Dykstra was super skinny when he played. John Kruk was never svelte. I think
did Lenny let it go once he retired?
Oh my God, he looks like John Daly.
He's no longer nails. He is a hardware store, I think would be a more apt description. But look, I'm not begrudging the guy. I'm just saying it could go in but one of 2 ways. Okay, so in terms of Andrew Luck, Brinson, I'll start with you since you're new to the podcast. If he's coming,
I will.
if he's coming back, what team do you want to see him on? I hope you say the Rams so you can have that cognitive dissonance.
And by the way, somebody also that was like, where is Brinson podcasting from? I look,
his summer estate.
No. They didn't say that like today. Somebody tweeted it earlier, like yesterday or something like that. Clearly, I did not realize that if you have hardwoods in a room when you're podcasting, it's going to sound terrible. So I have some soundproofing work to do over the weekend. Maybe it'll be better.
And also, Brinson is in witness protection, which is why he has a new background every day so that no one can gauge what his location is.
Hey,
based
go back there
on
and play that piano real quick. I want to hear something.
Breech and I already talked about the piano. You'll appreciate this, Wilson. If you're like, I'm definitely a top like 25 in terms of on the planet, all human beings, like top 25 person who would own a piano but have zero ability to play the piano.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, but this is just a Skype or whatever Zoom backdrop, right?
Yeah. Oh, but it looks real, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, move your head real fast. Let's see if we can see the difference. No, that's pretty good.
You can see it right here in the
a little bit, but yeah. That's where your brains used to be. The soundboard's back. We'll take that.
You do, Dunkaroo.
So when we're picking who Andrew Luck would play for, are we like obviously like Pittsburgh? They need, is it a situation where it's like they need a quarterback, or just like I kind of want to see Andrew Luck on this team?
It's your choice.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna stick close to home, and I'm gonna see the Carolina Panthers because
you're gonna get that guy killed. That's why you're tired.
No, their offensive line is a lot better.
A lot better this year.
Yeah, it's a lot better. And don't forget that in 2011, when the Panthers drafted Cam Newton, and many Panthers fans will tell you this, and people forget about it, but like everyone thought they were going to get Andrew Luck first overall, but he decided to go back to Stanford for one more year.
Oh, right. 2011, 2012.
Like he could have easily come out and would have like lockjob number one pick if he'd come out in 2011.
Let me ask you this. Would the Panthers have been better with Cam or Andrew Luck, though, in 2011? Because Cam worked out pretty well. Because they stunk in 2011 because the year before they used a second-round pick on Jimmy Clausen. Is that right?
Yes. They traded a future first. They drafted Clausen in 09. No, 2010.
Yeah, I think it was literally the year before. I'll double-check, but I think that's right.
They traded a future pick for Clausen, but it could have been a future first because they had
a lot of future trade. They traded a first-round pick to move up to get the edge rusher from Florida State.
Oh, God.
That's how memorable he was. We can't remember his name.
Golly. What is it?
I'll get it.
That would drive me nuts. Hold on.
So 2010.
Oh, it's and then they drafted Armani Edwards too, because Jerry Richardson was adamant they had to draft a guy from
App
Brown.
State. Armani Edwards is from App State. Jimmy Clausen, 2010, second round.
Everett Brown.
Thank you. Was that 2009?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2009. Sweet mercy. Ay.
So, God, this is a man.
7 career sacks. So the question is,
I remember covering that draft for Fan House from a hotel room in Pennsylvania, where I was doing a Gatorade event.
Is that where you are now? Hotel room in Pennsylvania?
I wish. That was amazing. 2009. It was like right about sports. I was like interviewing Eli and Peyton. Fantastic. Anyway, no, I'm not in a hotel room in Pennsylvania, Breech. Nada is indicating that we should move on. I think the Panthers would be fascinating because one, he would be an upgrade over everybody they have on the roster, even at age 32. And then also like the sort of what if he'd come out in 2011, would Panthers fans have, I think it would just be interesting. So I'll say the Panthers.
And I will say the Patriots. I think with Bill Belichick, that would be an interesting combo. And, there are teams that out there, they have to have a good offensive line because Andrew Luck can't get destroyed. He'll just retire again because of all the injuries. And, one of the other things of this question was, where would you rank him? I don't think I would rank him as a top 10 quarterback coming back because if he does come back, Ron, you mentioned his age, he's going to be 33 in September. He'll have just missed 3 straight years of football. So maybe if he acclimates quickly, he's a top 15 quarterback. And I think the wild card would be go to Tampa Bay, play 1 year behind Tom Brady, get reacclimated to football, and then be the Buccaneers starter in 2023.
Oh, that's a good one. Another good one. Quickly, we'll move on. The Browns, because you don't know what their quarterback situation is. The Saints, if Sean Payton comes back next year, and then Jameis, and then Seattle, because they're going to run the ball 85 times a game anyway, so less wear and tear on his 33-year-old body that retired in the first place because he kept getting beat up. All right, from John 201341115, not to be confused with John 201341114. Who will be Mac Jones's number one target this year? Devontae Parker, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, James White, Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, Tyquan Thornton, Nelson Aguilar. It will not be N'Keal Harry, who is now in Chicago. Love the show, and John listens every morning. Who is going to be Mac Jones's number one target?
I will say, look, Patriots love tight ends. We have seen they do is bring in tight ends. Obviously, they went out and signed Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry last year. Hunter Henry ended up getting the second most targets in 2021. Jacoby Myers got the most. I think we'll see something similar. I know that, yes, Devontae Parker's there now, but Belichick loves to play it safe, and he's the guy who's running the offense now. So I think that the tight end targets are going to go up, and my guess one would be Hunter Henry. Guess two would be Jacoby Myers.
The answer is just Jacoby Myers. You're like, I know you pointed out that Hunter Henry had the second most targets. Jacoby Myers had 51 more targets than Hunter Henry.
Yep.
But what happens?
That was in Josh McDaniels' offense.
What happens with Devontae Parker too being the addition? I wonder if that takes. That's not. I feel like that takes more away from Myers than Hunter.
Yeah.
And Jonnu.
See, again, like I'm a Jacoby Myers honk, but I disagree a little bit in the sense that I think Devontae Parker actually makes life easier for Jacoby Myers just because he's not going to see as much number one coverage as he might have last year. I think Myers is going to be the sort of the more underneath safety type of situation, and I think he'll see a ton of targets. He's only 26 years old, man. He's third year guy. I know that, I guess he was undrafted.
Undrafted. Finally scored a touchdown. Got that going for him.
He's not even 26 yet, man.
So listen to this. So I look back at 2011. That was my first Super Bowl. Brinson's second year at CBS, my first year. That team, which played the Giants in the Super Bowl, Wes Welker led the team with 173 targets, which is insane, followed by Gronk and Aaron Hernandez at 124 and 113, and then Deion Branch, who was 32 at that point, so on the downside of a really good career. So Welker was mostly a slot guy there, sort of a similar role to Jacoby, obviously not as proficient. Jacoby is, but yeah, I mean, there's an argument you made that Jacoby is going to maintain that, but I do wonder if you perhaps pool the tight end targets, if Jonnu plus Hunter will be the leading receiver. But yeah, we'll find out together. All right. Thank you, John. 201-34115. Next up, Greg DeRago. Should making this one up in terms of the pronunciation. On Twitter, big fan of the pod. While I wait for Breech's top 10 special team moment and Brinson's top 10 Matthew Stafford tats for Wilson. Oh, Matthew Stafford. I want to watch some football. Game Pass lets us watch games from the last decade. Any suggestions? I turn off the score, so please no spoilers. Oh, interesting. Oh, the last decade. So one of the best games.
I got a sneaky one.
Well, go ahead.
Peyton Manning, Tony Romo. I believe 2013.
Is that when Romo slipped and threw the interception?
Just no spoilers, bro.
I mean, you knew it was going to be an interception if Tony Romo's involved.
Okay, all right. Well, somebody's trying to get off this podcast in a hurry.
That
dragging our colleague Tony Romo through.
I think I actually wrote about that for.
You're definitely right for CBS at the time.
Yeah, no, I remember that because I think I did a breakdown. Although you can't find those games because they've gone into the ether when we changed over the URL.
You can't find our stories, right.
Yeah, you can find, right. Yeah, the story. Sorry,
it's without revealing the score, I will say that it is a.
I don't remember who won either.
I know who won, but I will say the over hit. I'll tell you that much, and it is a fun game. Highly recommend to rewatch it. I believe 2013. I'll find it real quick.
Yeah, I remember being a high scoring affair. There it is. Yep.
October 3rd, 2013. Right?
Yep. Breech put it in there. I don't know what the date was.
Oh, yeah. October 3rd, 2013. It was week
it was early.
5.
Yeah, I was going to say, I felt like October.
I just said October. Week 5, 2013. Great watch. In fact, I would even argue that every Broncos game from 2013 was a great watch, except for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no spoilers. Maybe Greg hasn't seen that Super Bowl either. Breech, what do you got?
You know what? I'm going to go with an all-time classic. It'd be easy to say like Super Bowl 51, which I'm sure has already been spoiled because I'm sure our friend Greg, is that Greg? Greg probably already knows who won Super Bowl 51. So I tried to look for lesser known games. And I am going with the Joe Burrow game, which is where the Bengals played the Dolphins. The Bengals, this sounds like it should have been the worst game of all time. The Bengals were 1-13. The Dolphins were 3-11. The Bengals had to lose to clinch the number 1 overall spot, which allowed them to pick Joe Burrow. And here is all I'm going to tell you about this game.
Was good.
Is that the Bengals were down by 16 points with 30 seconds left to play in the entire game, and it went to overtime. So find this game. It is bonkers. Watch it. And the best part is that it's the Joe Burrow game because the Bengals end up getting Joe Burrow. This is just
like the Bengals have Tua if they don't.
If they win this game, yeah, they don't have Burrow. I mean, that's a fact. And I mean, actually, they still could have gotten the number 1 pick. They just wouldn't have clinched it, and the Dolphins still could have had a shot at it. So it would have been up in the air. But yeah, it is a game that needs to be watched because it just fell to the wayside and no one remembers it because it was 2 crappy teams playing each other, but it was one of the most bonkers games I've ever watched. There's an Andy Dalton Hail Mary.
Every Andy Dalton pass is a Hail Mary. All right, I'm going 2014 season. 2014, week 8. The aforementioned Andrew Luck versus Big Ben in an absolute shootout. There were 85 points scored in that game. And let's see, 639 total yards. That might be by one team. Let me see if I can find the total yards. Total yards. There was over 1,022 yards passing, or 922 yards passing. So yeah, highfalutin affair. Check that out, Greg. All right, a few more minutes. Breech has extended his heart out for a few seconds. Let's get going here. With the wide receiver usage and pay going crazy, what do you think is the future of the running back position? I'll just say this quickly. I thought when Le'Veon Bell and Christian McCaffrey came into the scene that maybe that would change the perception of running backs. Christian McCaffrey is the highest paid running back, but I think the cautionary tale there is that if you get injured, it doesn't matter. Le'Veon Bell can't find a place to play, and when he did the last few years, he was the third string guy. I don't think anything changes. That's my perspective in terms of running back pay, no matter what happens with the wide receivers.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. I mean, maybe you get to a situation where you have like Travis Kelce right now at tight end, and these tight ends who are catching basically their receivers because they're lining up outside a lot more than often they're lining inside, and they want to be paid like receivers. And so maybe you get to a point where some superstar, and like you said with Le'Veon Bell and Christian McCaffrey, you were getting closer, but it didn't really change the paradigm of what was happening. But if you have a guy who's rushing for 1,200 yards and catching 70 passes, I mean, Austin Eckler had a pretty solid year. Maybe they can ask for a little more, but it just seems like everything now is running back by committee unless you are Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor. And if you're a part of committee, if the team has $15 million allotted at running back and you're Derrick Henry, maybe they give you the whole 15. But if you're running back by committee, they're splitting it all up and you're not getting 15 million. So it just doesn't seem like running backs are in a spot where they'll be able to up their salary very much in the next few years.
Well, and the other thing too is like you sort of, go back and look at the last few years in terms of the draft. And I mean, some of the biggest recent examples are like, look, running backs can be great, but like Christian McCaffrey taken with an early first round pick ahead of Patrick Mahomes. And I know, the Bengals passed on Mahomes too. Nobody needs to talk about that. Panthers did. They
didn't pass on Mahomes. They didn't need a quarterback.
They drafted
They
Mahomes.
didn't need a quarterback. They had just got to the playoffs in 5 of the past 6 years. Why would they have even looked at Mahomes?
How many playoff games they win again?
They went to the playoff. You're not replacing quarterback.
Oh, we missed.
I love we're spending the final 5 minutes on this podcast just playing
Insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, did the Bengals have the opportunity to draft Patrick Mahomes and did they not draft him? Because then
they did not pass on him. If you do not need a quarterback, you do not pass on a quarterback.
If Patrick Mahomes was available and they didn't draft him, they passed on him.
If you want to make fun of the Bengals for taking John Ross, by all means, go that route. That's fine. That was a horrible pick. But there is no Bengals fan should think that, oh shucks, we pass on Patrick.
No, they should think that.
I mean,
all right.
It is weird that I did that like just very quick drive by and you just kind of lost it about the Mahomes thing.
Hey, you know what though? Joe Burrow is their quarterback now, and he's 2-0 against Mahomes.
Okay.
So.
Anyway, the point being is McCaffrey, early first round pick, Dave Gettleman. Saquon Barkley the next year, Dave Gettleman again. Josh Jacobs in the first round, even late, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like these are the last couple. Najee Harris. I mean, like Leonard Fournette before that, Zeke Elliott before that. Like even the guys who are productive and work out early in their careers ultimately become a problem either because they wear down or like worse, you got to give them a contract. And so like I think that it's because it will continue to drift more towards, because of the committee stuff Breech talked about, a lack of investment in the running back position. Like it's only going to become more devalued. Now, are running backs important? Absolutely. Are they great players? Of course. But are smart teams going to not pay them and not draft them high? Yeah, that's the future.
Yeah, the 2 running backs this year, Ken Walker and the kid from Iowa State that went to the Jets, both went in the second round, just like the class the year before, other than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Breech Hall, thank you.
There's 2. Can we get 2 questions from the chat really quickly?
Yeah, you got 120 seconds. Go.
All right. First from Ian Marquez, trying to clarify from yesterday's podcast. You can toss that up, not if you can, if you don't mind. If a player does not sign the franchise tag, does he become a free agent? No. In fact, his
no, he does not have to show up for training camp because he is not under contract. He can still sign the tag at any time. And as we said, Dalton Schultz and Mike Gesicki have signed the tag, so they have to show up to camp.
Or can-
Orlando Brown and Jesse Bates have not. So right now, they're
Orlando Brown just got a new deal too, by the way.
okay. So then you have Jesse Bates, who literally Josine Anderson just reported that he's not going to show up to training camp if he doesn't get a long-term deal. It's not going to happen. So the only way Jesse Bates could become a free agent is if the Bengals rescinded the franchise tag. Otherwise, he has no choice but to play for the Bengals in 2022
or sit out.
Orlando Brown did not get a deal.
I thought I saw that he signed an extension somewhere or got a 3-year deal or something.
Yeah, I think you're making stuff up, Wilson.
Okay, I must have read the wrong.
Kansas City offered Brown the highest signing bonus in average per year on a 6-year deal, but Brown's team decided there wasn't enough security over the life of the deal.
Yeah, I think you saw the offer they made.
I saw the first half, but not the second half of the.
Right, exactly. Gotcha. And so yeah, so the Chiefs and Bengals are in the same spot where Orlando Brown, Jesse Bates don't have to show up to training camp because they're under contract, but they cannot go out and sign with anyone else unless the tag gets rescinded, which I would be shocked.
By the way, Orlando Brown, on the surface it seems weird, but you're also protecting Patrick Mahomes, so you have more leverage than if you're protecting some 6th-round quarterback who your team may not care about.
Yeah,
which is interesting. What's the other question?
The other one is from somebody named Josh Edwards. Scroll up a little bit, and he says, "Who's your favorite non-pick six super friend to have on the show? Totally unrelated note. Let me know if you want me to bring any bourbon when we get to Fort Lauderdale. Again, unrelated. Go Bengals."
Ooh, go Bengals.
Bourbon and Bengals.
Why is Josh Edwards Browns fan sucking up to Breech? Does he think the Bengals are going to be?
Brinson likes bourbon.
I think Josh is just that's clear. Yeah, he doesn't care about you. No, he knows that you like him because you guys are draft buddies. The bourbon thing is for me, and the Bengals thing is for Breech. Like clearly, he's trying to curry favor. And to be perfectly frank, there's nothing I love better than someone sucking up to curry favor. So I'll say Josh Edwards is the answer.
Yeah, no, you're the politician who welcomes corruption. Like you're looking for favors.
You want to pay me up? You want to write me a check for $20,000? I'll take it and I'll vote whatever you want.
That is Will Brinson, 100%.
I mean, bribesareus.com, man. Like,
that's why you got elected. Bribes are us. All right, Breech is off on vacation. You're back next week though, right, Breech?
No, I'm only gone for the weekend. This is not a vacation. I'm going somewhere for the weekend.
So this is your pre-vacation preparation for the vacation you're taking in 10 days for 2 weeks.
Exactly. I'm getting on a plane to make sure I can mentally handle it.
All right. Well, best of luck to you, Brinson. Thank you for joining us on your podcast.
and hey, by the way, if you want to crank up the quality of that tattoo, Ryan Wilson's going to get.
No, we're good. We're at 500. I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, we don't need any more. Please, I appreciate all the people that have given money. It's been more than enough, and I'm now worried.
Wilson-37831. I don't care if you send any more money to him. I just want to keep reading that ridiculous Venmo.
Oh, that's fine. I don't care about that. So we'll come to some consensus on the tattoo, and then we'll be in Nashville and make that happen.com.
That's gonna be fun.
Happy weekend.
In my backyard. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I can do the tattoo in my backyard. Literally. Do
you have a backyard?
I'll get an ink guy. There's a gopher back there right now, so I don't know if we can do it.
Can we meet at the park?
Is it the yellow tunnels around?
Well, there's like a sewer, and he kind of lives in. That's how it's crazy.
All right. I mean, I know we got to cut this podcast off, but you're like, I have a backyard, and you're like, there's a sewer.
To be clear, the gopher is trying to get Breech out of his backyard. That's what we figured out. So Venmo me money to help the gopher is what we're at now on the podcast. All right, Breech, have a good trip. See you Monday. Peace out.